AI is getting so crazy developed. They can just whip up a little risk assessment.
Do you use AI a lot?
I use it more for like content development and things. I don't have it write content for me because I think that is disingenuous.
But so you're 16 years old, you're in high school,
Yep.
and you start doing drugs.
I mean, Tom Brady, when he was in the NFL, whether you like him or not, he wouldn't go hire 5 different agents to have them go talk to all the different teams and come back with the best offer.
Yeah. You know, get hacked or something, and
Yep.
you lose all your computers, and so the cybersecurity, it's like,
Say somebody hacks your email, Chris, and sends a wire transfer request to one of your clients, and they've made it a beautiful email that looks just like you. And now your client wires $200,000 over to this person pretending to be you. That's not covered anywhere.
Triumph from tragedy, the way I overcome the devil mad at me. Farmer like faith, had to plant the seed. Now I work hard, we never take it for granted. We live into a standard, pass it down until it's mastered. I made it from a pallet to a palace and a castle. You can do it too, it's not too much for you to handle. It's that motivation, it's that fire to
what's
the
going on,
candle.
everybody? So on today's show, we have none other than Kody Houk with PrimeRisk Insurance Solutions. What's going on, Kody?
What's up, Chris, man? Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I'm super glad you came, man. I wasn't sure if you were going to come.
Man, opportunity to come spend a morning with you, man. Just true blessing.
I seen a couple of drops of rain. I was like, he's going to call in. That's what most people do when it rains.
You know, this valley gets crazy in the rain, man. It's nuts. Like, people just forget how to drive.
They forget how to do everything. They forget how to go to work, everything. They're all calling in. They work inside. It's raining. Calling in. So I was like, man, he's not going to come.
No, man, wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So we kind of met at a recent event a few months back, and been kind of going back and forth, supporting each other's social media sites and stuff like that, which is super cool. That's what I like. You know what I like that about, like, some people I've met, this year, last year, because I'm still new to the whole social media thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was on LinkedIn for a while, but Instagram was about 1.5 years or something. And I like when people support each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's super cool because, like, your post could suck and I'm still gonna like it. Now, I'm not saying it does, but, like, because I support you, like, I got your back. You know what I mean? Yeah,
it's been a cool community to get connected with, man. Guys like you. The event that we met at was with Jason Payne at State 48 and the crew there, and it's just been, the community's all like that, man. Everybody loves each other, supports one another, and all here for growth.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's about. It's like, how can we become better? How can we leverage our relationships, and at the same time not abuse them?
Yep.
Because that happens too. Sometimes people want stuff so bad, or they start using people.
Yeah.
Not even intentionally.
It's ugly to see.
Yeah. I feel like that happens a lot with when they're young entrepreneurs chasing money, and they want that quick fix, like how'd you get there?
Yeah.
It's like, I got here like in 15 years or something.
Yeah, I've been hanging out in some of these circles for a bit, man. And I've seen that it is the younger guys that typically come in, and they want to know the secrets, and I'm sure you've experienced it too. Then they come in and want to start biting the hand that feeds them, and
real quick,
it can get ugly pretty quick.
Yeah. So you're in an insurance game. That's pretty lucrative, right? You have all these different types of insurance industries, and yours particular. You call it blue collar, so it's risk, it's general liability, workers' comp, stuff like that, umbrellas. So
yes, sir.
Commercial construction.
Yeah, we
commercial and residential, right?
So I cater to the blue collar space, man. So contractors, home services. We do some local trucking stuff. Mostly guys that support the construction industry. Mm-hmm. So yeah, man, that's it. We're the blue collar business insurance broker.
I like how you say that, because everybody's got their tagline, right? And your blue collar that says, hey, anybody and everybody. Because remember how I was telling you the story when I went to the first time I went to a big insurance company to get a policy, I got denied.
Yeah.
But I was blue collar.
Yep.
Right? So you're saying, hey, guys, I got your back. It don't matter what size you are. If you're in the space, you're out there getting dirty, you need some support. That's
it right there, man. It's the guys like you that are out getting their hands dirty every day. You're building this country, and making it run, man. And I come from a little bit of that space myself, in logistics, and actually spent some time working up in the oil fields for a little bit. And
really?
North Dakota, freezing my tail off up there.
When was that?
Oh, that was 2014. No. Went up there right towards the end of the boom.
Yeah, because I remember everybody was going up and working in the oil fields for a bit there, right?
It was good money, man. I mean, we went up there and immediately stepped into mid 6 figures. running parts around. We were a hot shot company, so we'd go pick up drill motors and well equipment and get them out. You know, if something broke down, we had to get it out there because those companies were losing $250,000 an hour being shut down.
I remember that because people were like, I knew several people that went to the oil out there, and you know, they were working 16, 20 hours a day. It was just insane.
The money was too good to not go up there, man. But
$3-4 grand a week.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
It was great, but I'll tell you this much: the coldest day that I saw up there in North Dakota was 65 below zero.
Oh yeah, that's not worth it.
It was nuts.
That's miserable.
And the polar opposites there, you don't think of hot up there, but in the summertime it gets to 100 and it's 95% humidity.
Yeah.
So you have total opposite ends of the spectrum, and it is insane.
Yeah, and then you're dealing with that. Well, thank God you got out of that.
Yeah.
How long were you doing that for?
I was only up there for about a year. I got up there about the tail end of it. We got really efficient at producing oil, and then the barrel prices went down, and then the income tanked up there, and it just wasn't worth being away from my family all the time. So came back home and actually went to work in logistics for Shamrock Farms right here down the 17.
Yeah. Driving.
No, I actually worked in logistics in the office there. I managed, I think we had 68 drivers on staff at that time on the dairy side, and then 7 guys that would haul cross country.
Nice. So are you from Arizona?
I am, man. Born and raised. The Gateway Airport out there on the east side used to be a military base, and I was born there on the base. My dad was in the Marines. Grew up in Coolidge.
So born, was it Mesa? That's
Yeah.
Mesa?
Yep.
And then in Coolidge.
Yep.
That's interesting. Went to high school. Did you go to college?
On and off.
Yeah.
On and off.
So how old are you right now?
That's a good question. 37?
37.
Yep.
So, and how was it like, growing up in Coolidge?
You know, man, it got rough, and we can go into life a little bit because that's what this is all about, man. So, middle class white family in a heavily minority based town, real poverty stricken town. It was kind of a tough upbringing. I didn't fit in, got bullied really bad. I've been struggled with weight my whole life. Didn't help with the bullying and things that I went through.
Chubby?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been overweight my whole life, man. I've been a struggle. Last year has been big health journey for me, and we can talk about that transformation too. Yeah. But really struggled with self-esteem, trying to fit in growing up. Really talented in sports. Actually ended up getting some opportunities for baseball scholarships coming out of high school, but at 16 ended up getting addicted to cocaine.
Really?
Spent 11 years battling addiction. Almost lost everything. My wife was leaving me, was losing my kids. In that, cried out to God and said I didn't want that anymore. And he delivers in ways that we don't expect. And that's in the ministry that I've had the opportunity to be parts of. We talk about God has to bring things to light, to remove them from our life, right? He doesn't let them hide in the shadows. Mm-hmm. So, the struggles that I was dealing with all came out in about a week's time. My wife found out I was being unfaithful, found out that I was addicted. She, obviously knew,
but it's out now.
But it was out at that time.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up overdosing, trying to take my life. And, scripture tells us that the old us has to die and a new us has to be reborn. And God really did that night. And I've been sober since. I'll be 10 years sober this August.
So go back to when you're 16, you're in Coolidge. For people who don't know, where's Coolidge at?
Right smack in the middle of Phoenix and Tucson.
Yeah. So it's south of, I said, what's the city furthest? Chandler, Gilbert, somewhere?
Yeah, it's southeast of all that.
By the hills, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I didn't even know anybody lived over there. I guess they do. But so you're 16 years old, you're in high school.
Yep.
And you start doing drugs.
Yeah.
So it was like just the friends, everybody around you's messing around, there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, I was dating a girl, and her brothers had actually been some of my biggest bullies growing up, and was still kind of dealing with that. And I was going over to see her one day, and one of the brothers was out there on the bed of his truck doing lines and said, "Hey, you want to want in on this?"
You were getting bullied, and now you wanted to be cool.
Yep.
That was
what it all boiled down to.
I wasn't getting bullied, but I wanted to be cool.
Yep.
But yeah, that's usually what it is. It's like you do something really stupid when you're young just because you want to fit in.
Yeah.
Not knowing the freaking results, what could happen, thank God you got out of it. So you're 16, you start doing drugs, you like it. Did your girlfriend do it too?
No.
So she didn't even know?
No, we ended up, it was actually about the biggest reason that we ended up splitting up.
Yeah. So you were friends with the brother doing cocaine.
Yeah.
And then, what's crazy is, so you were 16. I started doing heavy drugs when I was 13.
Yeah.
I started young too.
Mm-hmm.
And, it affects your life for years. I tell everybody, like, listen, you start doing bad things, it's going to take you back 10 years.
Yeah.
Almost anything will take you back 10 years. You know, so we got to be really wise youngsters watching this. Like, don't do nothing stupid. You know, it's plain and simple, especially drugs, women, you know, it all leads to nothing.
It was rough, man. I mean, for me, it ended in an attempt on taking my life.
So you're 16, you're in high school. Did you graduate high school?
Yeah.
So you graduate high school, but you're still partying, messing around. Did
Yep.
you go to college?
On and off.
On and off.
Yep.
You graduate?
No.
So you start going to college, your early 20s, and then at what point do you meet your wife?
We met when I was 19.
So you're 19, you meet her.
Yeah.
You guys hook up.
Yep.
And then she gets pregnant.
Yep. It's kind of how it went. Young parent. I was, my son was born in 2009, so I was 21 when he was born.
Okay.
We rode that struggle bus hard, man, mostly due to my addiction and it really being the ruler of my life at that time. We were on and off for a long time, split up several times, ended up getting married in 2015. Even, going through that was a struggle.
Yeah.
It was still multiple times we were splitting up, separated, getting divorced. Would end up coming back together. And
what did you like when you're in this lifestyle? What attracted you to, the drugs, the party? I'm sure you drank and did everything else. And what was the attraction?
Honestly, I never had a problem drinking. Okay. I didn't even really like partying. Yeah. I would literally just lock myself in the house and use.
Just drugs.
And it was just the addiction itself, man. And
the high.
It was.
Yeah.
It was, and there were other things that played into it. There, honestly, man, like at some point it became a spiritual thing. There were nights that I'd be in my car crying on my way to my dealer's house, yelling at myself I didn't want to go, and I physically couldn't stop myself from doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
It really overtook my life.
Yeah, and it does. It does. I mean, I can attest to that. That's why I tell people, don't touch it. Don't mess around, because all it takes is one time to snort something or smoke something, and you're hooked. You're done. If it doesn't kill you, you're hooked. You know what I mean? It's like, don't play around with it, because I've seen too many people go down.
Same here, man. There's not a lot of people that I went to high school with that have much going on for them.
Yeah. If they ain't dead or in prison, they're like bums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And thank God you got out of it. So you're young. You have your first kid. You're 19 or 20, 21?
21 when I had my
21.
son, yeah.
And at what point do you start to make a little change?
There wasn't a little change. It was, so okay. I was, my wife and I were really struggling. I started going to church just to give the perception that I was trying to do better.
Did somebody invite you to church, or did you just like something?
No, we lived across the street from a church in the community. And
that's good.
First time I went, I walked in there high and sat in the back, and again, just started going. Me and my dad didn't have much of a relationship at the time because of my addiction, and
you didn't want to listen to nobody.
I had stolen a lot of money from them to feed my addiction, and it was rough. We weren't really speaking at all. Relationship was rocky with my wife, so started playing the church thing, making it look like I was doing better. And it was actually the second retreat that I had gone to, just to get out of town. And I got in with a group of guys in the church retreat that we'd go up to Flagstaff and go bar hopping all night and then show up to the church retreat the next day. But
Christians don't do that.
It was an experience, man, but it was the second retreat I had gone to, and there was some hikes and stuff you could go on outside of the camp, and I went and climbed this mountain and just started having a conversation with God and said, I didn't want this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why am I stuck in this? And just cried out to him. And again, it wasn't that snap of a finger thing of, okay, I'm cured. Mm-hmm. We never know how God's going to change those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I was a pathological liar. I played the victim, and honestly, I could swindle my way out of pretty much anything. He wasn't gonna let that happen this time. A real change had to happen, and everything had to be exposed. So a couple days later, I got home and I was actually at a softball game with the church softball team. And my wife calls me in the middle of the game. And she's like, so who's so-and-so? And I tried to talk my way out of it. And she's like, not this time. I just got off the phone with her.
Wow.
I know everything. So I drove home that night and got enough clothes to clothe myself for the next couple days and drove to my parents' house and was staying there. And I kind of made the decision. I was like, you know what, God's not going to fix this. That's what I told myself after that. Mm-hmm. I asked God to fix it. He's not. Went and bought an ounce of Coke and just said, I'm going to do as much as I can until my heart stops.
Now, how old were you at this time?
That would have been 27, almost 27.
So right around the time you guys were getting married, actual married.
Well, we got married in 2015. This would have been 2018.
Okay. So
no.
I'm trying to do the timeline.
We had been married for a while already.
Yeah. So she busts you.
Yep.
You go and get high more.
Yep. I just said, I'm done. I'm going to overdose. I'm just going to do this until my heart stops. And I was at my parents' at the time, and I was supposed to take my kids to school the next day.
How many kids do you have at this time?
2.
So you got 2 kids and you're ready to end it all.
Yeah. Wow. Just made, we all kind of hit that spot sometimes, right? Yeah. Like they just be better off without me.
Wow.
There's no, I'm not contributing anything to their life. I'm making it worse. So I was supposed to take my kids to school the next day. And I just remember it was a little after 11 p.m., August 23rd of 2015. And I just felt this peace come over my body. I didn't feel high anymore. And I thought in my head, it was, okay, this is it. I'm dying. So I'd never felt that before. And I closed my eyes. And at almost 7 a.m. the next day, I feel somebody shaking me, and it's her. And she's shaking me and yelling at me, and she's holding the rest of the Coke that I didn't finish.
Because you just passed out right there.
I passed out. And again, God had to bring it to light. Yeah. It had to be caught red-handed.
Yeah.
And that was a hell of a day. She called the cops. Luckily, one of the cops that showed up was my sister's ex-fiance, and the other one I grew up with as kids and used to go to their house and play.
You
and,
got lucky.
They showed up and sat down and talked with me, and
what the hell's going on?
Pretty much. And God really spoke through my wife at that, and she came over, and she had been telling me she was done all morning. And she came over and she just grabbed me and she knelt down in front of me with tears in her eyes, and she said, Kody, if you're done with this life, I'm here and I'll be here for you. But if not, I got to go. Mm. And all I felt then was I wanted to go to the church that I was going to. And I don't know what it was. I do know what it was at this point, but yeah. I just said, can you take me to the church? And she called the church out there, and the 2 pastors said, no, we're here. Come on in. And we drove out there, and we spent 3 hours in the office with the pastors, and they pretty much said the same thing. Like, we didn't know this was going on, but you're not going to live that life and be a part of our community. That's not what being in God's family is about. Mm-hmm. And there's power in confession, man, because it was 3 hours of spilling my guts out over a decade of everything I had done. Wow. To her, to my family, the lies I had told. And I've been sober since that day.
Wow.
And no desire to use, no desire to ever talk to another woman or look at another woman other than my wife. And, 10 years later, here I am.
What's cool is, like, you recognized it. You felt it. You recognized it. It's like so many people miss that opportunity.
Yeah.
We're God's sending them a lifeline.
Yep.
And they miss it, and you did a few times, you missed it a few times. I did too before I quit. But it's like, yeah, my wife says the same thing. She's like, it'll always be brought to light no matter what. If you're lying, she tells the kids all the time, if you're lying, it'll be, and it does, so I don't lie. Like, she can tell me that. I'm like, I don't lie. So I don't know what's coming. You know everything about me, whatever, you know. But the kids, you know, and so it's true though. Like, you know, for you guys out there watching, like you can fool people so long, but like you're really only fooling yourself because it's gonna come out, whatever it is. And thank God it did, because had she not found it, the next time you probably wouldn't be here.
100%.
Because if you'd have woke up, you'd have tried it again.
Yeah.
You'd have woke up to the bag and said, let's go one more time. Let's see.
Yep.
You know,
It's exactly what would have happened, man. And I can't praise God enough for all of that. And my wife and I have those conversations regularly.
Yeah.
And we do check with ourselves on it sometimes, because there's times we start getting out of alignment, or we'll start butting heads, or, you know, we have a pretty damn good life now.
Yeah.
And we start bickering about little things, and we come back to it sometimes. Like, if we had to go through all of that decade of hell to get to where we are today, would you do it again? And that's a tough question to ask sometimes.
It is, because there was a lot of bad things, but you guys are both stronger for it. You guys are both better for it.
So there was a message that I heard from, as a pastor out in Kentucky. His name's Kyle Eidelman. And he was kind of giving a parenting sermon. And he said, as a parent, if your child was born and God gave you the book of your child's life, what's the first thing that you're going to do?
Look at the end.
You're going to go through that book and you're going to erase every hardship they would have ever gone through.
Make it easy.
But what if one of those hardships was the event that was going to make them turn to God and give their life to him? And you just took that out. And that's the conversation that we have sometimes, man. Like, if we had to go walk through that to get here and to have the opportunities that God's given me, I one of the conditions that my pastors put on me was, I don't know if you're familiar with Celebrate Recovery. It's a 12-step program that a lot of churches put on, similar to AA or NA, but it's all Christ-centered. They said, you're going to go and you're going to be there every week. So I went through the program in our church, and then I actually became the ministry leader of our Celebrate Recovery, and then went on to help run a larger Church of Celebrate Recovery program. And I've gotten to speak at men's conferences and share my testimony to thousands of people. Had a radio show out in Casa Grande for a little bit. And sorry, I'm getting a little emotional.
No, this is good.
All of it has been for God to take my story and help other people get out of that same hell and know that they can, and to know that there's hope, and the hope's in Jesus. And it's in living a different life. It's in being as you said, being a truthful person. Right. Yeah. And even if I've only ever changed one person's life, I'd walk through all the hell again to make sure that that person could get out of it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I always say, like, your testimony is someone else's victory. It is their victory, because you're telling them, like, the stuff you went through, the stuff I went through, we're able to help someone else to either go through it easier, get through it, or don't even do it.
Yep.
Right. That's someone else's victory.
Yep.
You know, our hardship. And I mean, like, God allows us to go through these things. You know, obviously we put ourselves through more stuff than we should and all that, you know what I mean? But I believe it makes us stronger, you know, because I've met a lot of people throughout the years, and some of the hardest workers and the people I know are people that came out of hardship. You know, it's just, not all of them, but a lot of guys I know that came out of hardship are really doing well.
Yeah.
You know, because it was just, they got beat up. We got beat up, you know, you got beat up, and you did half of it to yourself, or maybe all of it to yourself.
All of it.
You know? Well, some of those bullies were causing a little bit of it, messing you up.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I think, like, that, you know, that you recognize what God's doing in your life, you know, because the power of God, it's like, you know, in the Bible it talks about moving mountains, and, you know, all these different stories in the Bible. And these are power stories. These are stories we learn from and we can glean on when it's our time to go through that. And when we need that victory, when we have that challenge, and, you know, it's like, think about, like, where you're at now is you can look back and say, well, I got through that. I'm for sure going to get through this.
Oh yeah. At this point, whenever things come up, man, and I'm sure you've gotten there too, right? sometimes whenever those attacks come and you start to doubt yourself or hardship comes, you almost start to laugh at it. Mm-hmm. Like, really, that's all you got?
Yeah.
This ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And, you know, you phrased it kind of perfectly there, right? Like, we go to the Bible and we read stories of people that have overcome or faced challenge and how God brought them through that. What does Scripture tell us about that, right? We're not going to overcome by the amount of Scripture we memorize and can quote word for word to somebody else, right? Or how many hours we spend reading the Bible. It says we overcome by the blood of Jesus and our testimony. And that's how we help other people. Mm-hmm. It's not going and Bible thumping them and hitting them over the head with Scripture, and it's sharing our story with them.
Yeah, and I say that's part of the whole faith, the whole sowing seeds, because when you're able to tell someone something and teach them and give them something that they can use, that's a seed. You're planting a seed. Mm-hmm. And that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to be planters, plant seeds, be a farmer. It's in the Bible, so it's like, and if we got something, I asked someone to come on a podcast a few months ago, and he's like, man, I don't have a business, and he tried to start one and all this stuff, but then he started telling me someone had told me, hey, talk to this guy, mm-hmm. right? And so I'm talking to him, and he's trying to avoid me. For some reason, I'm like nudging him, like, come on the show, and I don't usually. If they don't say nothing, I'm like, okay, cool, no big deal. But then he started telling me a story, what he went through, and I'm like, dude, like, you got to tell that story. He's like, I've never told it. I'm like, you would be dead, or like, come on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to tell it because someone needs to hear that. Mm-hmm. Like, you're sitting on something that someone else needs. You're basically sitting on gold, and that's what you're saying is like, God says you have to give that away. Yeah, you have to. You can't just put it in the ground, right? Like the talent. Yep. Bury that thing. No, we gotta. That's just embarrassing. You screwed up, whatever, right? But to be able to talk about it and someone else going through, like right now, you're talking about, and you have an amazing wife, by the way. If you watch this, you are amazing to put up with this, and you love him. And you guys have grown from this. That's amazing. No, that's only a godly woman's gonna do that.
100%.
And to grow from it, but like you're talking, you're open and honest about infidelity, drug use, just a bad lifestyle, and people need to hear that because, like, they can learn from it and say, okay, it's okay. What if you're going through it right now, the same thing, you can come out of it. Mm-hmm. And some people think they can't because they haven't heard it, because only the small circle around them, no one has. Yeah. You know what I mean? They've all fell victim. They've all divorced. They've all been, broke and all that stuff. But it's like, okay, no, you can come out. You can give it to God. You can release it. You can mend something with your spouse, with your children. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a lot of people face hesitation in it as well because, and I struggled with this for a long time, because they don't want the people around them to judge them. Fair. Right? Or it's even in their profession. It's a highly volatile situation for me to talk about it. Yeah. I'm in the insurance space, man. I'm dealing with people's money.
Yeah, but I got more respect for you now than ever before.
And I appreciate you saying that, Chris. And the first time I really opened up about this in my professional setting was I had the opportunity to speak at our state insurance association convention last year. And I really prayed on it. And the day I was given that speech was 9 years of sobriety for me to the day. Nice. And as I was praying as to what my talk was going to be, God said, that's how you need to open it. Because there's somebody in the room that needs to hear that. Yeah. And afterwards, I had 5 people come up to me and they're like, thank you so much for being willing to talk about that here, because I'm in recovery as well. And I feel like I can't talk about it or else I'm going to be judged. Yeah. And you going up there and just sharing that with this whole room of, there were some of the bigger agency owners in the state there, and they could turn around and use that against me if they want to, if we're, going on an account against one another and they say, hey, do you know this dude is a drug addict? Yeah. And he cheated on his wife and he stole from people. But God will handle all that. Yeah. My mission and what I think for all of us here, and I think it's, you and I prayed before this, and I think this is right where God wanted this to go, is every stage that he ever puts us on, is an opportunity to glorify him, not us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And now over the last 2 years that I've really harnessed that, and I used every opportunity. If somebody asked me to talk about something, I tell them, you know what I'm going to talk about, right? If that's not okay, I'm probably not the guy to be on your stage, because Jesus is going to be part of my talk in some way or another. God just keeps multiplying those stages that he gives me to be on, and multiplying my business, because clients in my insurance agency, man, we pray together. When they're going through a struggle, we get on the phone and we pray. And
it's amazing.
And I share that story with them. And now I have a coaching program for insurance agents all over the country. And you know what? I pray before every meeting. I pray with those guys if they're in the middle of struggle. And
people need it.
100%.
I mean, and like sometimes you don't even know that you need it until it's right there in front of you.
Yeah.
Or maybe you do, and you're too, like you said, you're too embarrassed. But like, man, the power of God, and if we just give ourselves to God and have enough faith to know that we can get through it, we're all strong. We're creators, right? We're made in his image, and I believe God will give us what we can handle, but we have to show him we can handle more.
Yeah.
He'll give us what we can handle. So if you everyone can handle a reset. He gives you that opportunity to change, but it's up to us.
Well, and I think he pushes us past that sometimes too, right? And we were on our way up here, and I saw the saying down there on your door said, "Your ego is not your amigo." Mm-hmm. It comes to that with God too.
Yeah.
Because God will push us past our breaking point for us to remember that we need him for the strength that we don't have.
He'll drop you to your knees real quick. I've had it happen even clean, not, in the business. And, sometimes I get too big headed or think I'm this or that, and boom, something bad will happen, like financially or whatever, a bad project or something really, it's like, okay, God, I hear you. Mm-hmm. I'll slow my roll. I get it. You got it. Don't worry. I'll keep praying. I'm sorry, and it's like, and I have to like focus back. Okay, God first, and if God be for me, who'll be against me? And then I start using the weapons.
Yeah.
And it's like, these are simple things, like you said, you don't have to, cite every scripture and read the whole Bible to everybody. But if you have a few of these weapons and these principles, they're basic things, we can get through life like really, really good.
Where he always ends up slapping me in the face, man, is I've because of how I grew up, the bullying, not being accepted by people, there's still times, even today, that I go seeking for validation from people. Mm-hmm. And when I start to put some onus on that and start reaching out to people looking for that approval mechanism to give me that dopamine hit and know that I'm on the right track, he'll slap me in the face really fast, whether it be, some battle with anxiety or depression that I go through for a few days, or I start getting down or doubting myself or whatever it is. And then he'll do something to remind me like, hey, you're doing this again. Yeah. Remember, I've already validated you. I've already made you worthy of this journey that I put you on. Just keep going.
Yeah. And we have to understand, like, we're stewards. Mm-hmm. We're just watching something, handling it. We're moving it around for him. We're just stewards, right? But we have to do our very best with what we have.
Yeah.
What he's given us, we have to do our very best. Whether it's one employee, 100 employees, one property, 20 properties, whatever it is, right? It's like, if God's entrusted you with this thing, we have to show him that we're able to handle it and that we can nourish it, we can grow it.
Yep.
Right? Because we have to grow it.
Yeah.
You cannot not grow it. Like, I mean, you could, but there's no blessing in that.
Yeah. And taking it to the business side, man, like I really harness that whenever I'm serving my clients.
Yeah.
Like you guys in the blue collar space, in the insurance world, and you dealt with this with that big shop that you dealt with when you were trying to get your policies. Mm-hmm. You guys kind of get dismissed. Mm-hmm. You do. Any new person that comes into the insurance space that needs to get in sales, everybody says, go after contractors. They'll price shop all the time. They're willing to talk to anybody. You can go write these guys easy. And they go slap together crap policies that are cheap and end up putting you guys in a bad spot a lot of times. I got 5 different accounts that are coming in-house right now that, man, it's scary what I see out there.
Wow.
From some agents.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of these guys, a roofing company, they literally had an agent tell them the other day that they could insure all their vehicles on their company vehicles on their personal policy as long as they listed all their employees as living in their house. And the only thing that their commercial auto policy covered was if their tools were stolen out of their truck.
I don't even want to know what company that was.
I'm not going to say it because they got a lot of money and might come after me for that one.
That's terrible. But some of these big companies are not good in the construction space.
And you guys are different. I mean, you guys have complex businesses, man. There's a lot of things you guys do.
Yeah, I know. I don't know the residential space that well, so I don't know how their policies are. But I know in my commercial space, we have it's real in depth. Mm-hmm. We have different umbrellas and a waiver subrogation and pollution and now the new one that we've had it for a couple of years, but the new one everyone's asking for is cyber. Yeah,
that's so there's not going too deep in the weeds, but there's actually some legislation being introduced that cyber insurance could become mandatory, just like work comp is.
Yeah,
cyber. For every business in the country.
So if you guys are watching this, you don't know what we're talking about. So it's a cyber insurance, basically cybersecurity. So that way your company is covered. So we work for like owners, developers, general contractors, right? And they'll put in a contract, you have to have cyber insurance. And basically, because they don't want your company to fall apart in the middle of their project, get hacked or something, and you lose all your computers. And so the cybersecurity, it's like, that's the one I'm seeing the most right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers to it. There's that. It's the business interruption if you get shut down. You still need to be collecting your income while your systems are down.
Yeah.
There's the biggest one that's I think the most important coverage right now. It's called social engineering. And that is if you get defrauded for money. Mm-hmm. So say somebody hacks into, and we used to get this at this consulting company I used to work with. Say somebody hacks your email, Chris, and sends a wire transfer request to one of your clients. And they've made it a beautiful email that looks just like you. Mm-hmm. And now your client wires $200,000 over to this person pretending to be you. That's not covered anywhere unless you have a cyber liability policy. And that's the biggest things that we're seeing right now is wire fraud due to email spoofs.
Yeah.
The last company that I was working for, I spent 8 months working for one of the bigger consulting companies in the country in the insurance space, teaching agents across the country how to do blue collar insurance. And our boss, the CEO of our company, we would get emails weekly. They did it perfect, man. Took his email signature. They would write just like him. They actually got it to where it would clone his email address, and we'd get emails once a week. Hey, we changed payroll systems, and I need you to send me over this form that has your new routing and account number on it for your direct deposit. All the time we'd get hit by it, and it looks so authentic.
Yeah, and that's why you got to email. You got to hover the email address. You want to double check everything. One time, this is probably like 7 years ago, and we were at our other building, and one of the guys, his name was Pedro. I'm pretty sure that was his name. He was our driver at the time, like material delivery and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he got an email from my wife. It wasn't my wife.
Yep.
And it said, go get like 50 gift cards. And they were like $50 each. I forgot where it was, a QT or something. I forgot. A couple of stores, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so he had our company credit card. He tries to text her or call her or something, and she didn't answer. So he goes and gets the stuff. And then finally she calls him back. And he's like, hey, I got all the gift cards. She's like, what are you talking about?
Oh, man.
Yeah. We couldn't take those back. We were giving them for Christmas bonuses and stuff. But it was like that. I think he spent like $1,500 or something. That could have been really bad.
Well, and the scarier part of it now is it's branched so far out of emails and things with all this voice cloning technology. And I mean, somebody can just go on your YouTube channel and put their microphone in front of their speaker for hours of your voice talking, and then they can program a robot to sound and talk just like you.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do it with Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
They do a lot of crypto hacks, schemes, all that stuff.
And small businesses are the most vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because most of them don't have the cyber protection, or they don't have the IT systems or the things in place. And they know that, they'll do it just for a quick, we're shutting your business down, wire us 10 grand and we'll give it back to you.
Yeah.
10 grand for a small business, a lot of times, a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for anybody.
Yeah. I mean, most companies are 90 days away from going out of business at any point. If their company is shut down for 90 days, they're out of business.
Maybe even more, maybe even less.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, I remember someone emailed me, and this is funny. So he emailed me, whoever it was, from what other country? Because there's usually someone from another country. And they're like, hey, we're watching you. We can see this. We can see that. I'm like, dude, screw you. But they were in my computer. I knew they weren't watching me.
Yeah.
But they were in my computer.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is your password.
Yeah.
He emailed it right back to me. I'm like, you mother sucker.
Yep.
So we have an IT company. So, they get rid of this stuff real quick.
Yeah.
That's crucial. I think that's crucial for all businesses. For me personally, you should have an IT company.
Yep.
Or some sort of, you can have software, but it only does so much.
Yeah. And they're not expensive to have.
Yeah.
If you guys want to look at them, they're called managed service providers. You get connected with those guys. They can set you up on a full IT cybersecurity suite for, most of them are a couple $100 a month, if that.
I wish mine was that cheap.
Well, you got a hell of an operation here.
Yeah.
So.
I pay a lot. Oh my God. Yeah. It's cool. Cause we'll get so emails will get purged, different things happen. And then if one of us, say it's a purged email, and so maybe every day or every other day, we get an email back and it has say 20 different emails that are just purged. You can't get to those. And you can ask for a release, but our IT company has to release it.
Yeah.
So they'll email us back and say, are you sure you want to release this? I see this, and this. 9 times out of 10, we don't want to get it released.
Yeah.
It's fraud.
Yep.
It's something, it's bad.
Well, and a lot of those, they'll offer safety training and checkpoints for your employees too. So they'll send spoof emails purposely.
We did that.
And then see who in the company clicks on it. And then they'll send you a report that says, hey,
this guy's a fool.
So-and-so is clicking on these emails pretty regularly.
Usually the young one that ain't paying attention. What? You want to talk to me? You think they're in a chat room or something?
Yep.
Yeah. But how'd you get into the insurance space? We went through it, kind of what you do and stuff, but so, you were a driver or in the driving space, logistics space.
Yep.
And then what got you into the insurance space?
So I was still living in Coolidge, and I was working up here at the Shamrock plant every day, crazy schedule. And that commute sucked. No matter what my schedule was for the day, it was always during rush hour both ways.
Yeah, that's far, dude.
So, coming up here, working 10 hours, having an hour and a half plus commute each way, it was rough on my family. I had been a couple years sober already. So, and really got into the church and built some good friendships there. So one of my buddies had a American Family Agency, and he was hiring for a sales guy. So I went and talked to him, and sounded lucrative. And he's like, oh man, so yeah, if you want to go get your license and get all that done, we'll get you in here. And I was like, well, how'd long that take? He said, well, I failed my test a couple times and it took me 2 months to pass it. So, well, you ready to hire me when I get it? Yeah. I had my license 6 days later. So started out there, did really well. I'm sure you guys have done some work out there at some point, real affluent community, really high net worth out there. So came up learning how to sell high net worth personal lines and protect people who had a lot of assets. Really enjoyed that, then realized I wasn't going to make the kind of life that I wanted to make working in that space. So I actually left back out of the industry for a little bit and then went to do consulting for a last mile delivery company here in Tempe.
So went back to logistics.
It went back into logistics. Did some really cool things there. Helped them go from, I was there for a year. Took the company from 2.1 million to 4.3 and increased profitability 20%.
That's good.
So big jump for them.
Yeah.
And then that contract was coming to an end and decided, you know what, insurance wasn't too bad. I'm going to go check it out from a different angle. So got a job managing a small brokerage over in Mesa. And then COVID happened and that company lost half of its clients in a couple other states. And he said, hey man, I don't have money to pay you your salary anymore. You can either be a sales guy and work on commission only, or I got to let you go. And I said, you know what? I've been doing this long enough. I think I can figure it out. I'm going to go on my own. My wife was pissed. We're in the middle of the pandemic, financial uncertainty.
Yeah.
And I decided I wanted to open a business, and I struggled for a bit.
Of course.
I was just doing the home and auto thing because that's what I knew. Slap my name on the business, thinking all my friends and family would just flock in and help me build a base. You know how that goes. Your friends are actually the last people to do business with you most of the time.
Unless you give them a 50% discount.
Right. So started that. And then at the same time, I had actually gotten really into big game hunting for a couple of years before that, and had one of the guide services in the state reach out and offer me a job guide hunts for them. So I was bootstrapping the agency with spending 6 months away from home guiding deer and elk hunts around the state. Did that for a few years, dumping that money, paying bills with that money, kind of dumping it back into marketing in the agency. And then got connected with some really good branding people in the space and realized, the last name insurance agency kind of wasn't the way to go, wasn't really scalable and didn't really resonate with people. So went through a couple branding things and then ended up launching the new brand 2 years ago now.
Nice.
And was in the middle of going through the transition over to writing more commercial business, and then really started to find my home in the blue collar space, man. I mean, you guys are my people. We speak the same language. We like to dress the same way. I don't got to put a stinking suit and tie on to go into a sales meeting. That's not who I am. It feels fake to me. And you guys are my friends. That's really what it is. And people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And I think that like factor is a big thing in business relationships. You do business with people you like. Obviously, you got to trust that they can solve your problems and they're going to take care of you. But it's guys you like and guys you can become friends with. And I can honestly say that 90% of my clients are friends. And I've got a hell of a business background outside of insurance that, a lot of them call me and say, hey, dude, I'm facing this problem in the business. Can we have more of a business consultation talk than an insurance talk?
Yeah.
And I can help provide that business advice too. And it's really cool being interconnected in the network of the blue collar space the way that I am through the state, because I insure a lot of big GCs. And if they're looking for a smaller artisan guy to come in and do a job, I had a guy call me the other day. He said, hey, I need a block guy. I don't need guys that can do walls. I need somebody to build a wall of a house, not a wall of a fence.
Yeah, someone good.
So I started reaching out to a few people, and within an hour I had him a block guy set up, ready to go.
Yeah. Another
roofing company, they needed a demolition crew that was certified to do asbestos removal. Had him a guy in 10 minutes.
Did you give him Omar?
No.
Sorry, Omar.
No, I got some guys that I insure out there in the East Valley that...
You got to give me a customer. He's not a customer. Omar, you got to become a customer.
Omar, hit me up. So it's really cool, man. Like, I really build my business around being a resource hub more than insurance, right? Because I think that insurance gets way too commoditized.
Yeah.
It's just something that we feel we're forced to have, and I'm going to pay the least for it I can. You guys are paying anywhere from 10 to 18% of your policy premium to the broker that's managing your policy. For some guys, they think, oh man, I'm paying that guy a lot of money. For other guys, they might think, man, I'm a pain in the ass. I don't think he's making enough.
Yeah.
But you guys should be getting more for the amount of money that you're paying people to sell you some insurance policies. And a lot of guys just show up 2 weeks before your renewal, drop the application on your desk. Where's my check? See you next year. Yeah. And I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
And I've structured my business to be more of that resource hub. We're going to, if you need safety training, I'm going to help you get it. If you need help developing your subcontractor agreement, I'm going to help you with it. I've got it ready to go. I can give you a template. You can plug your information into it and you'll be ready to go.
Yeah.
We do certificate compliance. So if it's a GC or somebody subbing workout and you need to make sure that your guys have their stuff right and you're protected, you send us all their certs and we make sure that they've got everything that they need. If they don't, if you're okay with it, we'll talk with them and help them get them set up the way they need to be compliant with the way you need to be doing business.
Yeah.
So I've prided myself in it, man. And, sneak peek here, March 1st, my book is actually coming out.
Nice.
I actually wrote the blue collar business insurance blueprint. Really cool to embark on that project, and
that's super cool.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, how many pages is that?
125 actual readable pages, and then in the back of it actually has a bunch of resources. It has like a layman term dictionary where I've taken some of the things that you guys may not be familiar with, or some things that can be confusing, and really broke it down in a way that you guys can understand what it is, what it means. What is a waiver of subrogation and why does it exist? Mm-hmm. Why does somebody need to be additionally insured on your policy? Mm-hmm. Why do you need to be additionally insured on a subcontractor's policy? There's actually sample subcontractor agreements in the book. So if you don't have one, you can pull it right out of there and plug it right into your business and go use it.
Yeah.
So I really wanted it to be almost an encyclopedia.
I like
right?
that. I like that you're doing that, because you do have a lot of people don't understand the insurance space, you know, as contractors, because most contractors, most of them came out of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And so they don't even know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just at one point they're told they got to get it.
Yep.
Right? They get the license. The license ROC says, hey, you got to get this general liability and workers' comp. That's all they know at that point. That's the first two things they learned.
Yeah.
So they don't even know what it's needed for. That was me when I started. Like, I didn't know anything, right?
Yeah.
And then you start learning, okay, I got to protect myself here. I got to protect myself there. You know, and then it goes beyond, like, you know, some of those principles you take into your personal life with your assets and stuff like that.
Yep.
I like it, man.
It's such a crucial part, man. And you know, a lot of times all people look at is the dollar amount on the policies, right? I really try to take the time and help my clients understand how to budget for that. And we look at, I need you guys to give me an insurance budget to work with this year. And typically for contractors, depending on what you're doing, that's going to run somewhere between 1% and 4%, depending on the risk. But you know what? If you know that ahead of time, and your policy is a payroll rated policy, which a lot of them are in the contractor space, guess what? Go bid your jobs 4% higher, and now your insurance is paid for.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
or
for a lot of you guys, 2%. Go bid your jobs 2% higher.
Stop spending so much money.
That's a big thing too.
Yeah, you may be bidding right and spending too much money.
Yeah,
you know, but your insurance is very crucial. It's. I tell people a lot of times, like, you need proper insurance, no matter what. Then you have the people that say, well, you can be overly insured. Well, can you really be overly insured?
I think to a point you can. You know, the bigger things that I hit on, Chris, is, not many people are ever going to deal with a serious claim that would put them out of business, right? It happens. For a lot of people, it doesn't. Where I go more into is the compliance side of it, especially if you are a smaller artisan contractor, not even small. I've dealt with, you know, companies doing 8 figures that haven't structured their insurance properly to go do jobs for bigger GCs. They're not ready to go, and they don't realize. Sometimes they wonder, man, we put in a bid for this job. We felt it was really competitive, and they gave the job to somebody else. That person might have had their insurance requirements ready to go day one when they submitted that job bid.
That's what we do. Once we start talking to them, we send them the insurance requirements real quick. Once we know, boom, here's what we can do. Here's who we are. Here's what we're capable of.
Yep. And if you do that versus somebody, they may have even been a little lower cost than you were on your bid, but it would have taken them a month to get everything they needed ready to go on their insurance, and you got it ready to go.
And they may
Who's going to get the contract?
They may not even get it because they're like, I got to spend another $5,000 for this.
Mm-hmm.
It costs $5,000 to add this on a piece of paper. Yeah, it costs $5,000.
So here was what really shifted that for me in this industry, Chris, is I went elk hunting with a guy a couple of years back, and first time we had met, spent a couple of days elk hunting in the woods. After we got done with the hunt, he hit me up. He's like, hey man, I really enjoyed your conversation. I like that you're a man of faith. Want to give you a shot at our insurance that's coming up for renewal. Just so you know, we're getting this big contract with a national builder that they're going to go in and have us do all their house pads as an excavation company. Cool, man. That's it. I really appreciate the opportunity. Dug into a little bit. Couple days later, we were actually going deer hunting, and we're walking into QT to get some coffee at early morning. I said, hey man, just so you know, if you haven't bid this job yet, that policy to get you ready to go to work for that company is going to cost you $50,000. So make sure you factor that into your bid. We went out, deer hunted, had a good time, ghosted me. So that was in November. He calls me in February. Like, wonder what he's calling for. Pick up the phone. Hey man, can you still get me that insurance policy? Yeah, did you guys win the job? You ready to go? He's like, well, here's the thing. We ended up talking to this other insurance agent over here, and they got us this policy for $12,000 and told us it was good to go. Red flag number one. If there's that big of a cost difference, there's probably a problem.
Yeah.
So they let us on the job site. We started doing the work. and then, some people think that they're in the clear with that, their compliance department is going to go through and inspect every document in that policy when they get it. They are going to do it. So they had been working on the job site for a couple weeks, and then the compliance team shows up and says, you guys are done. Get out of here. Your insurance isn't right. Sold them a policy that did not allow for any new construction and did not allow for any residential work at all. They got thrown off the job. So now they had been working with that other agency trying to find something, and they were BSing them around. So we're 2 weeks into it already by the time he called me. That's a very detailed policy that has to be written. It took me 30 days to get them a proper policy. And then because they had already messed up once with that builder, the builder said, you're not coming back here until we make sure everything is good to go. And we're going to inspect all these documents with a microscope. Mm-hmm. So it took them almost another 30 days to get approved to go back on the job.
That could have been bad.
It was
bad, but
it was, because skimping on spending that $50,000 up front, for one, they had to cut me the check anyways. After they had already paid for another policy, they lost $400,000 of wages on that contract because they were off the job site for 2.5 months.
And they had to hire another company to do the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They let them back on, and they ended up finishing their part of the job.
They're lucky they got let back on. So they got subsidized.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, man, I tell all these guys, like, do it the right way. That's one thing, Kody, when we started the company, like, we started in 2009, and everybody questioned, and I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was in the industry already, but I never worked in an office before. And, but one thing, like, I would pray, and God's like, do this the right way.
Yeah.
So everything I did was like the right way. And I made mistakes, don't get me wrong. Like, but I mean, when I say the right way, like, okay, don't skip out on the tools. Don't skip out on the insurances. Don't skip out on the computers. Don't, like, all these things that people don't want to pay for. So I started, like, I remember the first time I bought, like, we were broke. It was 2009. There's no work, no nothing. And, well, you remember. And so I had, like, very little money, and I bought a computer and a fax machine. Because at that time, we'd get faxes, bid invite. We get bid invites. They would come by fax. It was the end of the fax machine. By the time I bought a fax machine, it was the end of the fax machine. But, I wanted to do it the right. And I remember telling people, like, I'm going to do this the right way. Like, what you do for you is what you're going to do for you. But what I'm going to do for me, I'm going to do for me. So then when I would get different projects or get with a different contractor and start to learn what they did, and then I would ask them their insurance requirements. And so we always were up ahead of everybody. So, like, when it came time, we were always prepared. Like, preparation, that whole saying, you guys know the whole saying about preparation. So every time it came up to the new challenge, and remember, I said it earlier, God will give us what we can handle. And so I always tried to be ahead. Okay, these guys are using this policy. This is coming up. We have to use it for this one GC. Just add it to our policy no matter what from here on out. Yep. Every time, just add it in. And that way we're ready for the next guy. We're ready for the next guy. Because the last thing you want to do is get passed up.
And that's it. That's why you are where you are, man. I mean, you take this stuff seriously, and you are prepared and look ahead of time. And anytime I talk to, if I get the opportunity to speak to a group of contractors, I just did yesterday. I'm speaking at a conference. They're supposed to have 700 blue collar guys in the room on March 1st.
That's cool.
Cool event there. But I always tell these guys, like, I will protect you where you are, and I will prepare you for where you're going.
Yeah.
Let me know the work that you're planning on going after so we can get ahead of that and make sure when you submit that bid, you look really good on paper and you're ready to go.
Yeah.
But you can't skip, just like you're saying, you can't skimp on that stuff. And I tell people, I'm probably not going to be the cheapest guy. There might be times that I have an exclusive program that others don't. Like, I've got a roofing program right now that is killer that nobody else can touch. But for the most part, I'm probably not going to be the cheapest guy, but I'm always going to do things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you choose to do business with me or not's on you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good, man. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm glad, you're, and you doing this business in a commercial residential space. It's afforded your family things. And then I think are you looking for agents too?
So I do coaching all across the country. I've got my own coaching program. There's a contractors growth program called Contractors Excellence. breaking news. They just contracted me to be their national insurance consultant and work with all of their guys. So really cool for that. I'm actually building an insurance course for them that whenever they bring a guy into their program, they have to go through my insurance course.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there's agents out there that need help, man, I've built a really cool model of the agency that I really feel is the agency of the true agency of the future. And I'm helping guys make, first off, protect their clients better and understand what that looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And helping insurance agents build their agencies faster, because people think that insurance agents are just raking in money, right? Think it's an easy way to get rich. PE tried to come into our industry like they're coming into the blue collar space right now, and they found out how hard of an industry it is. But these numbers are nuts, man. So there's 40,000 independent insurance agencies in the country. 40% of them make less than $150,000 a year as an agency.
Yeah.
Almost 70% of them make less than $500,000. And there's only 10% of agencies that make over $1 million a year. It's nuts.
There's a lot of competition.
So much noise, and it's hard to fight through it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're dealing in a space where a lot of people are uneducated. And so they just don't want to pay for it.
Well, and it's
until you're forced to.
Some of that's our fault, right? Because most of these agents, all they do is, hey, Chris, can I give you a quote this year? Chris, can I see if I can beat your price? And that's where they get stuck.
Did I tell those guys no all the time?
You should.
I don't even shop it. Once I'm pretty loyal.
Mm-hmm.
If you start to learn the pricing and stuff like that, but it's like if my guy stays in the space, what I want to be, and if he's giving me what I need, I'm good.
And that's that's my whole model. And when I talk to people, is commercial works different than personal lines, home and auto stuff. Companies will work with any agent. Every agent in the country could go get a quote for you from a company for your home and auto insurance. They don't care.
Yeah.
On the commercial side, it works different. It's only one company. So say you're going to Travelers. Travelers will only give a quote to one agent per year for your company.
Yeah. So
you can't go to agent A and agent B and they both go talk to Travelers.
Not if they both work.
That's not the way it works. So when you go talk to multiple, say your renewal's coming up and you're like, oh, I'm going to go talk to 3 different agents and have them go get quotes for me. You're going to hurt yourself because one, they're all going to get to market as quick as they can with BS submissions just to make sure that they're the only one that can talk to that company. So through that process, you might uncover, man, I really like this agent over here.
You screwed him.
But this agent over here got me the best price and he's actually a really crappy agent. But the agent I want to work with can't work with this company that has the best price. So when you're doing that, you really need to start looking at things more of like a broker selection process than going to get pricing from the market. I mean, Tom Brady, when he was in the NFL, whether you like him or not, he wouldn't go hire 5 different agents to have them go talk to all the different teams and come back with the best offer.
Yeah.
He hired his agent because he knew his agent was going to represent him well in the market.
Yep.
And that's what commercial insurance is. I need to be able to tell the story of Chris's company to the underwriters and paint him in the best light that I can so I can get him the best rates.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm telling this story and then this agent over here that you worked with told that underwriter a totally different story 2 years ago, they might not believe me, number one, and they're just going to throw out some half-ass quote that isn't going to be good for you because they don't think they're going to win it anyways, or they think that you're an unfavorable company that they don't want.
And this is good stuff for insurance. I mean, I'm learning a lot. I mean, I know a lot about it, but this is really good information because there's a lot of people that don't know. So earlier you said you were a chubby kid and you were picked on, but when I see you on Instagram, it always says gains due, or what is it?
Dues paid.
Dues paid. Gains due. Dues paid. So you're at the gym. How long have you been going to the gym now?
Almost 2 years.
2 years.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Now, have you lost weight through the process, or what? Like, how does that
work? So I've lost 80 pounds of fat and put on 30 pounds of muscle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I hired a coach a couple years ago. You know him. And our first week of working together, he texted me at like 9 o'clock at night. And I was pushing 300 pounds at the time. And he said, we're not doing anything business related. You need to go 10X on your health. okay, that sounds cool. And again, going back to the ego thing, his next text to me was, I can't refer you to anybody I know looking the way that you do. Because if you can't take care of yourself, nobody's going to trust you to take care of their business. And that hit me like a ton of bricks. And in the past, whenever I had an ego, I probably would have told him to kick rocks and get lost, but it was what I needed to hear at the time.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because a couple months before that, I was actually considering going to have weight loss surgery for that reason, right? I wanted to take care of myself, but I had spent some time in prayer and I really felt God say, no, this is a mountain you need to conquer on your own because you have really big goals and aspirations and I have a big vision for you. And if you take a shortcut on this, you'll never achieve anything else you want to achieve.
Yeah.
So you get your ass to work. And that was it, man. It's been, I'm in the gym at least 4 days a week, every week, cleaned up my eating a lot. I haven't gone on some crazy diet. Just kind of cut out the crap. I eat meat and fruit most of the time and 6 cups of coffee a day. But it's honestly, it's for me, I think has been the biggest impact of anything that I've done. Like I've done a lot of education. I've gotten a lot of coaching. I'm well into 6 figures in coaching in the last couple of years. And that's been a huge ROI, but none of that would have taken root if I didn't develop the discipline in my health.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of us, that's the biggest challenge for anybody.
Yeah.
You're in it too, man. I mean, there's days you don't want to get up and go to the gym or go hike the mountain at 4 a.m.
How do you know I do that, bro?
Hey, bro, come on. We're connected.
Yeah.
I saw your one the other morning. It was still dark whenever you were up on top of that mountain.
It's always dark.
Yeah?
Yeah. And
But there's
cold.
days
Right
you don't
now
want to
it's
do
dark
it.
and cold. Yeah, no, for us.
But getting up and doing it when you show up here to the office, anything hard that you got to conquer for the day doesn't seem like anything.
Yeah, when so it's usually around 39, 40 degrees. One time it was 32 degrees. I was like, it's freezing. But it's cool though.
That was one thing I was thankful for that time I spent guiding hunts, man, is, we'd go 45-day stretches without a day off in December, January.
That's insane.
And we're out there in the middle of the desert, and there's days it's 23, 24 degrees, winds blowing, it's raining.
Oh, when the wind blows, it sucks.
But a client's paid to hunt, so we got to get out of bed and go climb the mountain and start looking for deer.
So do you have a trainer still, or no? Are you done with the trainer?
I invest in coaching in multiple aspects. I've got a coach that I use specifically for Google and YouTube coaching. Just started working with him a couple months ago. I have one coach that literally is just for my mindset. I've got another coach that is one of the top dogs in the insurance space that I just pretty much have him on a retainer, that if there's something that I'm unsure of or I need to double check on, I can call him.
Yeah.
I think coaching is the greatest investment you can make in yourself.
Yeah, you learn from someone that's experienced.
I think it pays a higher ROI than any stock or real estate investment you can ever make. Since I started investing in it, my business is 12x over the last 2 years.
That's amazing.
I can't advocate for it highly enough.
Would you recommend other people get into this space that you're in?
In insurance?
Yeah.
Oh boy. If you want to come into the commercial insurance side, so doing business insurance, I think that there's still opportunity there. There's been a lot of back and forth about this, but with the development of AI, I don't think, if I were looking at it, I wouldn't come into selling home and auto insurance at all. I don't think there's a future in it. I think that as soon as 5 years, as late as the next 10 years, personal lines agents aren't going to exist. I think you'll just be able to go on ChatGPT and type in, get me insurance quotes, put your information in there, and you can buy a policy and get all the information you need.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that on the business side because what you guys do is so complex.
It's catered.
Yeah. I mean, like you were talking about your commercial contracts and all the intricacies of the endorsements and things that you need. Yeah. I think we're still quite a ways off from AI being able to do that.
You're right, though. Yeah, home and auto, it's so simple.
It really is.
What year is your car? How many? Who's the driver? Okay, here it is, $700.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is really determining, even on the personal line side, like what levels of protection do I need, right? But AI is getting so crazy developed that they can just whip up a little risk assessment real quick and ask you what your net worth is and what your investments are and the things that play into setting your liability limits on the personal line side, and you'll have all those same answers.
You use AI a lot?
Not too much, man. I honestly, a little bit. I use it more for like content development and things. I don't have it write content for me because I think that is disingenuous. But if I'm trying to come up with ideas or brainstorming,
like, give you a keyword and you can run off of that or something like that. Yeah.
Or like, hey, I want to develop some content around this idea. Give me 10 examples of some articles that I can write, like subjects, right? Yep. But I think that people, and telltale signs of it, or it uses all the same BS language, or you'll see all the emojis inserted in the writing and then 5 hashtags down at the bottom. And it always starts with, in the crazy world of commercial insurance, or
the journey. They use this journey a lot.
Unleash the power of.
Hey, yesterday on my phone, I went into ChatGPT and not the new one. What's the Chinese one?
DeepSeek.
DeepSeek, yeah. So I went in the chat and I put, create me I'll tell you what I put, because I can't remember. So I'm trying to figure out, like, I'm trying to do this health journey, right? Mm-hmm. So I was messing with it. I was like, let's see what it does. So I put, here's what I did. I put let me go to the top. Create a superhuman protocol to minimize aging.
Okay.
And it came up with, like, pillar 1, pillar 2, pillar 3, pillar 4, pillar 5, pillar 6, all the way from like pills to sleep to all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
I was like, this is pretty damn good.
It's pretty crazy, man.
We looked up some stuff like how to heal your body with different peptides and stuff like that, and it gives you everything.
Yeah.
Like you can look up a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And if it's used right, but then you got to be careful too, because it could give you the wrong information.
Yeah, because it's not thinking for itself. Where it's pulling all that information from is from
everybody.
Google. Yeah.
And what's funny though is, I don't know about now, I haven't tried it, but when Trump was running, and I would try to put like something about Trump, or pull up something on Trump, or anything like that, or United States, and it would be like, oh, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Can't do this. It would literally say like, I can't do this.
The one that I've been playing with the most, if you haven't played with it yet, is the Grok. It's the one that's built into X.
Yeah, X Grok.
That one actually does really good for a lot of research. It does really good in a lot of content. That's cool. It's a pretty cool one. Yeah, I haven't played with DeepSeek yet, just because I haven't.
I probably won't play with that one.
I'm still a little weary of it, but I did ask my tech and IT guy yesterday. I said, dude, what do you think about this? Like, is there credibility to the whole CCP backing, and like all of our information is at risk? And he said, get your cyber insurance and go play with it.
Yeah. I mean,
everything that we use is already.
I mean, your phone can hear you. And
yeah.
You're talking about shoes, and you know, every article is shoes.
Yeah.
So it's already, they're doing it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all a money thing, because OpenAI and ChatGPT and all those other ones have so much. I don't know if you saw what the stock market did over the last couple of days, but it was like Nvidia lost like hundreds of billions of dollars over the last couple of days.
500, I think.
Since DeepSeek got its thing, because it's not using any Nvidia tech.
Yeah, and that's why everybody's going against it, because you gotta go and take out the guy that's coming in.
Yeah,
it's all money. So
all money.
I like it, man. This is a good conversation. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
Where can we find you at?
All over the place, man. Any social media platform, you can just look at my name, Kody Houk, for my personal stuff. PrimeRisk Insurance. We're doing a lot of really cool educational things on our YouTube channel now.
That's cool.
I think we should have an educational playlist built for about anything in the blue collar space within the next 60 days. Yeah, man, but love to connect with anybody. Facebook, Instagram, those are the main 2 things I'm on, because that's where, honestly, that's where you guys spend a lot of your time. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I like it. So if you guys need a policy written, get a hold of him. It's Houk, Houk. And
Kody with a K.
Kody with a K, Kody. And don't forget to like all of our stuff. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and be blessed.